Hey there, fellow nerds and geeks. Aaron Nabuz here, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Hall H Show podcast. On this episode, we bridge the gap between the breakdancing and b-boy culture and comic books and pop culture with our special guests from the Not So Fresh podcast, Art Tejada, otherwise known as Distill, Mad Mike Logic, Sasso, who you may know from the Jabberwockies, and Rox Right, a world champion b-boy, currently sponsored by Red Bull. We are also joined by our good friend Jason Lethert from HeroJournalism.com. This is part 2 of our joint podcast session, so please go to ToughRocking.com and check out part 1. We drank like Thor in the Warriors 3 as we continued our discussion. So, just a quick note, this is a not safe for work episode. Not only did we learn more about b-boy culture, but we also talked about their upcoming breakdancing event, The Get Down. And of course, we also talked about San Diego Comic-Con. Thanks again to the Not So Fresh podcast for coming on the show. And for the beer. Enjoy. Hey, fellow nerds and geeks. Aaron Nabuz here from the Hall H Show. As always, I am joined by my co-host, Alex Benedicto. And we're also joined by our contributor, Jason Lethert from HeroJournalism.com. And today, our guests are ToughRocking.com. You know them as the Not So Fresh podcast. Would you guys introduce yourselves?
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Art Tejada. I go on YouTube as Distill Vlog, Destijl Vlog, and I go by the alias of B-Boy Distill, and I am part of the Not So Fresh podcast, and you might know me by the Oh Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah. Go ahead.
What up, y'all? This is Mad Mike Logic, also from Tough Rockin' and the Not So Fresh podcast. How y'all doing? That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
wow. Yeah, wow.
Plain waffle.
It's not very. That's
I'm
not very like you,
I'm
Mike.
not very good at selling myself or
Okay.
talking about myself. Go ahead and talk about yourself for a little bit.
Okay, what's up, everybody? My name is Sasso, representing the Rock So Fresh crew and also representing the Not So Fresh podcast. Just very honored to be here with you guys. So thank you guys for having us on your show.
Thank you.
We got one other guy from the Not So Fresh podcast here.
The occasional guest, Roxrite. What up, everybody? I'm known as Roxrite, and I'm a b-boy as well, and I'm part of the Not So Fresh podcast. So yeah, thanks for having us.
Sweet. As you can tell, we have a crew of b-boys here.
Yeah.
So we're going to be bridging the gap between hip-hop, b-boy culture, comic books, and pop culture. This is part 2 of a podcast that we started 5 hours ago. No, I'm just joking. It seems like
I think
that.
so. I think it has been
Almost.
like 5
But the first part was the Hall H Show being guests on the Not So Fresh podcast. So we've had a few beers, so pardon any rebel rousing. So on with the show. So why don't you guys tell us the origin story of the Not So Fresh podcast? Why did you guys start the podcast?
For reals? All right.
No, for real. No, for fake.
Michelangelo's
All right. All right. So. All right, I actually thought Sasso or Art was going to answer this, but I'll do it. I'll give my perspective.
You're the producer.
All right, so what happened was I'm trying to think of like the good way to say it. So what happened was we were just all on a thread, just fucking cracking up. Can I cuss on you guys' podcast?
We'll put a rating on there.
All right, I'll try to keep it clean. We were just like texting each other
crap.
back and forth, and throughout the years, we've always done stuff as a collective or done like different types of projects and stuff. Professionally, I'm a project manager. And also, right at that time when we started talking, I was like, dude, I want another job. So I wanted to do another project. And as we were just sitting there goofing off and talking on this text, and I'm surrounded by talented people, man. I mean, in this room, like, I'm always like inspired by the amount of talent that's around me, and like when I hear like some of the jokes that are being said, some of the things being written, some of the things that are being like done, I'm like, yo, man, like, you guys need to fulfill their potential, so let's do something, you know. And that's kind of like what ended up, how it started. So first, the first part was getting a podcast started. Then we're getting the site and a couple other things. So everything's kind of falling together. We're still in the process of launching a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, that's kind of how everything started. And then we got a lot done in the short amount of time that we've been doing this. So
You
yeah, that's kind of how the beginning.
Art, Sasso, you guys want to chime in?
Yeah, so we all know each other from the hip hop scene. We all Sasso and I have Rock So Fresh in common, which is a b-boy crew out of here in San Diego that started back in 2002. I eventually got into the crew, but Sasso was one of the original members, and Mike is the originator of a jam that he's throwing, that we're all actually throwing on the 22nd of this month.
We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah. But, you know, we all met through the hip-hop culture, and it's pretty much breaking, to be exact, and we're all
like break into Electric Boogaloo. Or?
not like that, but breaking. When I talk about breaking to the mainstream people listening, they would know it as break dancing, but we call it breaking because that's the original term. But other than that, we're all we all met in San Diego here within the breaking scene, and from there we all met and came up with the idea of starting a podcast because we were all in the same thread talking a lot of,
Crap.
I guess you could call it crap. And we are huge fans of Joe Rogan and Bill Burr.
Okay.
And we kind of, we took it and went with our own way, our own route. So that's what I've got to say about it. That's my input. If Sasso has anything else to add, then...
No, you guys pretty much nailed it. And it just kind of gives us another thing to do as far as guys go who just want to hang out and talk shit and basically
drink a lot of beer.
Yeah, drink beer and talk crap about each other and make fun of each other and talk crap about in the community as far as the hip hop scene goes, because we're a lot older now and we've seen and been in the community for a long time to where we feel comfortable enough to just kind of have fun with it and talk crap about it.
And there's a lot of roasting going on.
Yeah, and not only with each other, but just like in the hip hop scene in its own.
Speaking about hip hop, I mean, can you guys sort of dig deep and let us know, what exactly is a b-boy?
Rockstrite, you want to add on to this?
Sure. I mean, a b-boy is the element of hip hop that represents the dance. So the b-boy or breaking is the original hip hop dance. So all these other street dances that came after, they got adopted into hip hop. So a b-boy has many things, there's different terms for it. So you have people that would commercially call us breakdancers. But the thing is that a breakdancer is a guy that breaks just to do the gimmicks and do all the trendy stuff and just does it for the fame. And then you got a breaker who understands it a bit more and they do the moves, the dynamics, they understand the culture a bit. But a b-boy is a representation of the whole culture. They represent the idea of being a character, original, having style, originating your own moves, and understanding the whole movement as a whole. That's what a b-boy represents in hip-hop, and they're usually one of the most outspoken elements in hip-hop. We speak a lot about the purity of hip-hop, the representation of hip-hop, whereas you have the MCs, the DJs, and the artists, where... I think graffiti artists is just the same, but I feel like when it comes to the other elements, they've gone so far outside of their true essence in a way, or what they represented when it was all one, that the b-boy still tries to hold on and represent that idea and that movement.
Word.
Thanks, Sasso.
And a little background on Rocks right here. For the listeners, the reason why I asked him to give the definition is because Rockstrite is a huge figure in the b-boy scene. If you, I mean, pretty much, I'm just
The
gonna say,
competitive
Yeah.
B-boy scene.
I'm just gonna say Google Roxrite, and it'll speak for itself. In a way, you know, like I mean, we could do the whole plugs for the Instagram and all that at the end of the show, but right now I'm just gonna say Google that.
Anybody else want to chime in about what it is to be like? What is a b-boy?
You pretty much nailed it.
Well, you guys mentioned dancing as and also b-boying being a representation of hip hop. I mean, how else does the b-boy culture manifest itself? Like besides dancing, is there any other elements that it sort of manifests itself into?
Well, yeah, okay, say like if you're talking about b-boys, you kind of expand into different dancers. The thing is, breaking. The breaking's broken down into a top rock, and then you go down to your footwork, and there's power, and you end with a freeze. More recently, there are people that focus on each part of that dance individually.
Like
So
I think your last guest was a top rock.
exactly.
Okay.
Thank you for recognizing that. So Wacko, he goes by Wacko, and he's a top rocker, up rocker, and he focuses mainly on up rocking and top rocking because he is injured and he can't really do a lot of footwork and power. So for him to get his outlet with the dance still, he focuses a lot on top rock and up rock, and he's world renowned in those respects.
So now a lot of other elements of hip hop are DJing, MCing, and graffiti. And some people will argue that even skateboarding is an element of hip hop.
Oh, interesting.
But not really. Not really.
Some people will argue.
People do argue.
But then there's also people that argue that beatboxing is the fifth element
Yeah.
of hip hop. But then there's other people that argue that that knowledge is the fifth element of hip hop.
Or that murder is like the ninth element of.
Or if you're a Bambaataa fan, I'm just kidding. I'll stop
we
there.
won't go too far with that.
Well, I guess rest in peace, Prodigy.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
yes,
R.I.P. Prodigy.
R.I.P. Prodigy from Mobb Deep.
That's right. I guess you also had talked about graffiti. I think that might be a good segue into something that I wanted to talk about. Is sort of how hip hop culture has sort of been becoming more noticeable at conventions and comic books.
Oh yeah.
The last Comic-Con, a few cons that we've been to, like say WonderCon, I believe, right, Alex? I think they had a graffiti or urban art panel.
Past few.
Yeah. So, and even Daryl from Run DMC has his own comic book.
Really?
So, you want to talk a little about that, Alex?
Yeah, I think he's coming out with his third issue right now. I believe it was 2 or 3 years ago that he came out with his first issue. But he just incorporates. I remember going to a panel that he talked about how comic books influenced his music in some of the lyrics. I forgot the exact words, but it was like knocking down kicking down doors, knocking down walls. Was that's what superheroes do, and that was major influence on his music and in his lyrics. And it was real interesting, listening to the connections between comics and influence on hip hop culture and his music.
I think to add on to that, my favorite connection within most recent memory is Luke Cage when they had Method Man. I think it was episode 9 or 11, where they had Method Man on the Sway and Tech show, and they're talking about current events leading to Luke Cage, and Method Man is freestyling about Luke Cage. And I was just like in awe. Like I couldn't believe myself. I felt like this is the best thing that could happen in Marvel right now for me, being a hip hop head. But anyway, sorry.
Well, I think it kind of ties in with graffiti because of the art that goes into it. Not only with the typography, with like the whole bam and the whack. When comic book comic book heroes are fighting and stuff like that. But if you go back, into the early stages of graffiti, you'll see a lot of influences of like graffiti artists putting certain superheroes with their murals and stuff like that. And then also, there was a lot of influence from a comic book called Cheech Wizard, where what's his name?
Wade Bode.
Bodie.
Bodhi,
Yeah, he there was a lot of influence through that too. And that was like not, I don't know if that was like a popular comic book, but I think because of, I don't know if it was a style.
I don't believe
but-
it was a popular comic strip. Do you know? Maybe Rox right now. He's a historian of art of hip hop.
I remember his last name because his son still carries on that.
I actually
whole
have
thing.
I got a piece of his. His son made these like figure molds, and I got his son signed it, and I actually have it at my house. And I got it at Comic Con.
Yeah.
Well, you can
So-
look up Cheech Wizard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
look up
Cheech
Cheech Wizard. Very heavy influence on the graffiti scene as far as hip hop goes. Go ahead.
Oh, we're talking about like just hip hop being visible and being more visible in different realms, like in comics and stuff like that. One thing about hip hop and that I've always kind of saw as a little unique was that all forms of expression borrows heavy from another source. I mean, like even like you'll find that the origins of country actually ties back to Celtic music from Europe. James Brown is actually the foundation to rock and hard music. But you don't actually ever hear those stories because people don't usually bring that up. Well, hip hop embraces the fact that it borrows, and they actually purposely go out and seek influences. And even in the evolution of breaking, it borrowed heavy from other elements, and you can see pieces or moments that are in other dances or in other types of physical feats, but they flip and they try to make it into breaking. And I think that's like the main theme that ties everything together. That is hip hop. It's like the process of how you create, is you borrow from other things and you flip it and you make it part of what it is that you're creating,
So it's almost not surprising that you actually would see it at like Comic-Con
Yeah,
and stuff like that with like, because a lot of graffiti artists are like I said, artists, and so of course you're gonna be they're gonna want to be around all those other type of artists as well. We have a close friend of ours that just launched their comic book. There's Saul, who did the Accidental Aliens, and along with Saul is Rodney, and they're both heavy in the b-boy scene and graffiti scene. Saul mostly. I don't know if Rodney does.
No, he's mostly comic.
Yeah,
book art.
he does mostly comics, but it just kind of ties in together because of I guess the artistry.
Oh yeah.
So speaking about the art and the creative process, like I'm curious, how did you guys find b-boying personally, and how do you continually find the motivation to continue to hone your craft?
Oh dang!
Yeah.
Go deep on this one.
Did you want who was one? You Roxrite?
Well, Roxrite really needs to comment on the motivation aspect, because
Yeah,
he's the one. Because Roxrite is still an active competitor and still hungry and still has goals as far as like what he's trying to accomplish. Whereas, I'm not going to speak for the rest of us. I just know that I'm not doing anything near that.
Yeah, how did you find b-boying? Rocks, right?
I found breaking when I was 12 years old, but I mean, breaking to me goes further back. In Mexico, I used to watch kids do it in the park when I was, still young. And I have a vision of my brother doing a backspin in the living room. So when I was 12 years old, it started coming around my school at the time, and a lot of people were doing it. And I knew kind of what it was. I had memories of it, but I never fully remembered in detail what they were doing. So when I was 12, I went to a school dance, and these kids came out and started breaking. And these kids that were breaking, they were friends of mine that I knew from years earlier from elementary school. And, I just thought it was so cool and it's so unique in the way that what they were doing. I didn't even know they even breaked, actually, till that day I was at the dance. Mm-hmm. Before that, I had never seen them even try anything. So after that, I saw some other kids that were older and they were more advanced. And after seeing them break, that's what really, I felt like that's what I wanted to do. So from there on, I started practicing in my friend's living room, and since then, I just never stopped. So it's been 22 years now. That was January of '95, and yeah, it's just the thing, you know. You kind of, when you're young, it's like the cool thing, you know. It's like, oh shit, this stands out, this is cool. And you know, when you're a teenager, you're like, oh, the girls like it too. But once you get more into it, you start to realize that there's so much more depth to breaking, and what's behind it is not just spinning on your head. It's like what you're gonna do with the spin and how you're gonna use the spin that's gonna make it unique to you. So once you get into it that deep, everything else kind of leaves. Once you get more and more into it, you know. And you know, once it got to that point, it just like it became like scientific in a way, where you started going into it more and really getting more and more creative and really pushing yourself to innovate things that you felt were unique to you, maybe through inspiration, like you said, from other people or other sources, but you still try to keep it within the breaking element. Well, yeah, I mean, it's been a while, so that's really how I found it, and to stay consistent with it is really difficult. But I think for me, it's just the background that I come from. I have like this fighting spirit of competition and wanting to stay on top of yourself. I have like an athletic. My brother was a runner, and he ran half marathons, so he kind of paved the way for me to see what's possible without having nothing to make something. And the thing was that he ran track, I braked. But even though breaking was never accepted in the way that running track and getting endorsements through all that, he still made me believe that I could do something with it. So then that just kind of unraveled, and that's what kind of kept me pushing. But that, for me, that's, I guess, coming from that background, that's what keeps me competitive. And I look at breaking as a battle dance, that's how it started. You know, nowadays people want to talk about it being this thing where you go and social dance, but when we first started, it was not. It was about you going to battle, and I guess that spirit never left me. Mm-hmm. So that's why I keep pushing and pushing. And, you know, I think I've had my fair share of competitions. I think more or less I plan on retiring from that element of breaking in a few years.
Okay. Before we move on, you had touched on breaking not being accepted.
Yeah.
How is it now?
It's still not accepted.
Yeah.
Nah, you know, I think it's just misunderstood. I think when you go into the bigger cities, a lot more people have a better understanding for what hip hop is, and people actually living from something like breaking. But, you know, I think it has a view and a stigma of what it was in the 80s. You know, it's like every time I bring it up, it's like, oh, you breakdance? Oh, I used to do that on cardboard. Or I used to breakdance and then do this waving thing. And it's like,
Oh, great.
you tried it for a little bit, you know, like I've been doing it for 22 years. So it gets much deeper than just what you just told me. You know, I breaked on cardboard too. So it's like, you know, I just find it funny. But also socially, when people, you know, when they ask me what I do and I bring it up, it's almost like, oh, they still do that? You know, at immigration, when they ask me at immigration, like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I went for a breaking event. Like, they still do that abroad? Like, they're shocked, like, that still exists? You know, so when you look at it like that, I think that's where I mean that it's not fully accepted. So it's still a very underground thing still, in the terms that socially people still don't know what's really going on with it.
So I'm sorry. So you mentioned abroad. What other places have you?
Man, I've been to a lot of places.
Where to start? Where to start with this guy? Where to start?
I mean, yeah. I can only speak of
literally
like,
traveled around the world in a day.
yeah.
Where'd you go this year?
Yeah, let's start with
there.
that. Where have you been this year?
Where have you gone in this year?
Where was I? I was in
Since
Russia,
January.
Amsterdam, Holland, Russia,
Just off the top of
Poland.
your head, huh?
Poland, Turkey, Switzerland, Finland.
Wow.
Damn, where else did I go? France,
Yeah.
Belgium, Italy. Damn, Singapore.
These are
Yeah.
all competitions, or?
Yeah, I was judging it. Yeah, it's everywhere.
Wow.
It's bigger almost in terms of the professional level, in terms of people being able to work from breaking. It's way bigger abroad than it is here in the States. The States is, if you're not on TV, like on these TV dance shows, people almost don't take you as serious.
Well, you know, that's actually the big key point. Sorry to kind
Yeah,
of chime
and that's
in.
what I was gonna say.
The big key point is like, so for example, from a business standpoint, if I'm a businessman and I want to get visibility on something, I don't have time to learn breaking. I need to know what the validate. Like, I need a validation process.
Yeah.
Tell me who is the best, so I can sponsor them. I can hook up with them. Who has like if you think of sports, you know, you make it to the NFL. Obviously, you're good. I don't need to go and like ask or look or evaluate you. I know you're good. I can sponsor you. You're worth the investment. There's not an organization or a business organization that exists for breaking in the U.S., which they do have abroad, is what you were saying before, right? Like they do have more stability.
But
more
also
of
the
an
countries
industry.
the markets are smaller. So what happens is people are more organized abroad in terms of packaging their events and presenting it to sponsors. And they're able to get small endorsements or people to support them or governments to fund the events. So this is where, you know, some events may get funding from the city government and they want an international competition. It was like, we want the best guys from Poland, we want the best guys from France, we want the best guys from Italy, but bring us a USA squad and a Japanese squad. So then they're going to use that funding that they have to bring these groups out to draw attention to these events and bring the numbers or help the youth or, you know, whatever thing that they're trying to reach. Their goal is, whether it's like the government funding it to get the, you know, the kids in the ghettos of these communities to see some potential, or you have these events that have big followings that have big corporate sponsors as well, and they're funding it enough to where they can draw enough people to come and support people and supply jobs, you know. So where here it's just, it's a, you know, it's still underground in a way where mainstream doesn't still recognize breaking in the way that they do abroad, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, is that it's a little bit more accepted
Socially as well,
abroad
yeah.
than it is here in the U.S. Because you go to other countries and you'll see that the shit, just the outcome of an event is like in the thousands. Where you go to an event here where you think it's going to be a big outcome and it's only like hundreds of people. Do you know what I'm saying? So you go to other countries and it's way more accepted than it is here in the U.S.
Anybody else want to chime in?
No. Yeah.
I guess I'm curious. You know, I'm not a b-boy. So, what's a typical like b-boy jam like? Like, what do you guys? How does it go?
There's different styles.
Yeah, there's
of them,
like different variations
Yeah.
of b-boy events.
Yeah, it could range from like your local event that somebody's throwing all the way
That
to
we're throwing.
Yeah, like
July 22nd, the Get Down.
Let's rep it now, and then we'll rep it at the end.
yeah. Let's segue into it. So
Sorry.
like okay,
Just wanted to plug it in real quick.
if you're from San Diego, California, July 22nd, Saturday, it is a Saturday during Comic Con. You can,
Damn.
from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. We're gonna have a jam.
Come party with us.
Yeah, in Balboa Park, which is right up the street from where?
San Diego Comic-Con.
From Hall H.
That's right.
So if you want to come through to Centro Cultural de la Raza, it's in Balboa Park, right next to World Beat Center. And we're having a jam there. We're throwing a 2 versus 2 breaking jam. And the grand prize is $1,000.
How much is it to get in?
It's actually $5 if you get pre-sale on our site at www.tuffrocking.com, TUFFROCKING.com.
Yeah, so
what
come
does tough
support.
rocking mean?
Tough Rocking is a style that originated from one of our crew members. His name is E. Swift, and his top rocks in the dance of breaking was like a tough rocking style. It looked like he was about to mug somebody, you know.
It's a combination of like boxing, like
Yeah.
a little bit of influence of Bruce Lee. Like whenever you see Bruce Lee kind of setting up and when he's about to fight, that whole like little initial stance that he does. It also it goes with the Muggsy.
Yeah, it goes with the Muggsy, originated by Ken.
Yeah. Oh well, that goes with like if you ever watch Looney Tunes, like that whole
Yeah.
Muggsy.
Yeah.
Just like those types of mobster kind of look of like, he also goes back to the Run DMC look as well, like just kind of like that tough looking style. So
Yeah.
Like an intimidating style on top when you're dancing. So yeah.
Exactly. So the whole rocking thing is a term in hip hop where, like it's either like the way you dress, the way you look or represent yourself. That's like you're rocking it, you know. And so another along with that type of rocking is like rocking is just like the way you're either your stance or the way you're dancing or just the way you are. So just like the rock, like I'm rocking this hat or like I'm rocking this shirt.
Okay.
If you're on the side of a what we call a cipher, and just you just like kind of like dancing with the music, that's your rock. You know what I'm saying? So that's it. There's a lot of
There's so many things.
so many things with rocking.
Yeah,
So,
actually, they say that breaking originally, before they called it breaking, a lot of people said rocking,
yeah.
and then the term b-boy or breaking came along.
Okay. Sasso had mentioned the cipher. Usually, I'm familiar with the rapping cipher.
Yeah.
So
It's the same,
basically-
the
yeah.
same
It's
thing.
pretty
Okay.
similar.
Yeah.
You know, the cipher is essentially a circle,
Yeah.
right? And so with the circle, you know, with rappers, they stand around and they you know
They freestyle
they
and-
freestyle, whatever. With b-boying, it's a bigger circle.
Yeah, way bigger.
Because if not, you're gonna get kicked in the face or in the nuts. Or if you're a girl, then you're gonna get kicked somewhere else. But it's a wider circle, so we
So is the
refer
circle
to it
wider?
to cipher.
That's what we referred
Like
to
a
it before, though. That's the
like
thing. The term cipher didn't come to use until like the late 90s, early 2000s in breaking. That's when we first started. Before that, everybody called, when we would go dance, it'd be like you're dancing in the circles or you're rocking the circles. And the term cipher came, but the term cipher actually comes from the 5%ers. That's where they adopted the term cipher, because the cipher was where they would sit down in the parks and drop knowledge to each other that was being taught by the 5%ers in New York.
So remember when I called you a historian?
Cipher.
And like, you were
Are,
like,
are we getting
no.
Wu-Tang all in here?
Wu-Tang
to that.
applied everything from the Bible, the Quran, the 5%er. They grew up with, around everything. In hip-hop.
Right.
So, I mean, hip-hop, it has, like, everything in it. That's why, like, sampling is so accepted within hip-hop.
Cipher.
Rock the cipher.
So, you guys had alluded to the different styles that are in, I guess, your event. Can you guys sort of elaborate a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah. So there's the competitive events, which is more of a battle, like kind of like a competition, which you see almost in an MMA competition type
Like
style.
best of the best, but
Yeah.
Tournament.
breaking.
The kumite.
Best of the best three.
Yeah.
Or there's events where it's kind of like low key. You have your local DJs come and kind of like it's almost like a party type feel, and you just invite a bunch of people and they just dance or they break essentially. They just what we call cipher. And then there's ones that are like they try to mix in both, where it's like ciphers and competition. So I would say there's like 3 different types.
Yeah.
Where it's like competition, cipher, and then you have a fusion of both.
And then you have like the festival type events that are like, they feature everything, but it's also like a cultural thing where they have panels and they have discussions and they
That
bring
was like in
graffiti
the
artists.
early
stuff.
or late 90s,
Yeah.
Those were
early
nice.
2000s.
Those are nice, yeah. They're very
Related to
informative.
San Diego, we used to have B-Boy Summit here. And they used to have
sparked
panels.
the whole revolution.
Like I don't know if you ever went to B-Boy Summit, Aaron.
No.
But they held them over at the
Embarcadero.
the Embarcadero and the Civic Center. And at the Civic Center, they had they had the rooms inside of the Civic Center.
Oh, wow.
And the outside in the central part where they were breaking, and they had panels inside of those rooms.
Yeah.
And they would discuss a lot of things. There was a lot going on.
It was a lot. It was similar to what you guys call the artist alley.
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
Artist Alley and then
Hall
H.
H,
That doesn't come to
artist
San Diego
alley.
anymore?
Was that?
They banned it.
Come to San Diego
No,
anymore?
they stopped having it here.
Is it stopped? Is it still going in other cities?
Yeah, they still have it in LA.
In LA.
Oh, they don't
Have it in that
Competing
form anymore, really, right?
No.
Not in the form of like a
Not like a
convention,
convention,
feel or
no.
like which they really should. They
Yeah,
really
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
nice.
So I think San Diego's a little bit more conservative now with the whole hip hop scene. Whenever they try to throw a hip
Even
hop
after
event.
the Obama administration.
yeah.
Well, look
So
what's in there now.
What do you mean by? I'm just kidding.
You're saying he doesn't have any groove, any...
I've seen him groove.
Didn't say that, but
But they've they've tried to have events here ever since the whole B-Boy Summit thing, but there's like so many regulations and licensing and blah 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 that goes with it. Go ahead.
Too much vandalism.
Oh, and there was
Yeah,
a lot
there
of
was a lot of
vandalism
vandalism.
because of graffiti artists.
Because of the artists, and I think that's part of the reason why they banned it from San Diego.
That would totally stick in San Diego's craw.
Yeah, you know.
You can't have that in San Diego
Yeah, we are-
because it's so nice and pure.
Yeah,
That's
why
what
would
they
you
say,
tag
that's
our
what I'm
beaches?
saying.
Yeah.
When I first moved here, my buddy goes, "Oh, you're moving to conservative San Diego." I go,
And
"What? I mean, it's California. I didn't know." And
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh no, it's a big military town.
It's a Navy town.
Yeah.
Huge Navy presence here, so there are a lot of Republicans here, and I don't want to say Republicans going hand in hand with this or
No, but it's pretty
direction,
conservative.
kind of did.
No.
Well, hey, anyways.
No, it is pretty conservative. I mean, San Diego is just, it's America's finest city, so
Yeah.
it
I have no
holds up
problem
to
with
that. Yeah. But sometimes I do love going to LA just to see the graffiti on the freeways and shit like that.
Why not?
So
Take the
you
train
know?
up, you'll see more.
Yeah, in LA, and then some in San Diego. But you'll find your yards here in San Diego.
Yeah.
So how has the acceptance of we're talking about b-boys, but what about b-girls? How is that in your culture?
There is a small community here in San Diego, and there's actually a small community, just I guess worldwide. And
Worldwide, it's bigger.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm saying like as far as worldwide, the percentage of b-boys to b-girls
Oh
is
yeah,
smaller.
I think it's always been like that.
And we actually have a top b-girl here in the
We
house
actually do.
at the podcast studio.
I don't know if she wants to chime in,
I don't know if
though.
she wants to. She's being shy, but that's fine. But shout out to Paulina, just chilling,
What's up,
drinking a
Paulina?
beer. She's like, fuck that, I'm not talking.
No, she's actually one of the top B girls in the world.
Yeah.
But she's being shy. So.
But San Diego is home to one of the biggest B-girl events that ever happened.
Queen Bee, right?
Yeah, Queen Bee.
Yeah.
It used to happen at the Scottish Rite Center.
Right off the 8 freeway.
Yeah, and Mike was saying earlier is that they used to have like a comic.
Comic-Con. They have a lot of events there. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was one of the birthplaces as far as like B-girl events go. Probably the only one.
actually-
aside from like
The
Fight Club,
historian's
B-girl
gonna
Fight
correct
Club
you.
and all that stuff.
Yeah,
The historian's
actually,
gonna correct you.
Asia One, who was the B-girl, is the one that co-created the B-Boy Summit.
Oh.
Yeah.
If not the main creator,
that's
which
very
was
true.
the
But-
B-girl.
Yeah.
Queen Bee was
All
focused only
B-girls.
on B-girls.
Yeah.
Competitors.
Yeah.
All the competitors would be girls.
Yeah.
Which we should be.
Which led to a lot of B-boys showing up.
Which led to a lot of breakers.
I wonder why.
It was a really dope event. It was like one of my favorite events to go.
That was a
to.
lot
Yeah,
of guys'
it was
favorite
fun.
events.
It was
It was
great.
like
Yeah, I
you
always
get to,
would
you
be
get
like
to
on the
see
side,
all
like-
the girls from all over the world, and you get to watch them do footwork and be like, "Oh my gosh, she knows footwork."
Oh my god! And it would be a good event where it was like you had different. Wait, how many girls or B-girl crews would sign up?
Due to a lot.
It was a lot of. It would be a good turnout as far as B-girl crews go.
Yeah, there'd be all girls.
Well, there were people from Canada, France,
Yeah.
all over the
that
U.S.
was 2 people, by the way, but yeah. But Rock's laughing
Hater,
because I'm
hater. Mike's a
But,
hater.
but girls would travel for this event. Yeah, it was because
Yeah.
it catered to them, and yeah, it was a fun event, man. Man,
Yeah.
shout out to Saki in China who threw
Yeah.
it.
Now these are domestic events. I want to get Rock's Rights sort of his feel on like the international events. How are B-girls out there?
A lot of the big events abroad, what they're doing now is they have a category for women. So they have the B-girl category usually, and that draws in a lot of the B-girls from abroad. So you have events. I think Outbreak Europe is one of the ones that has some of the most B-girls coming from Europe to go battle, and sometimes they come from everywhere. The USA, but they all go there. I think they get over 100-something B-girls.
Dang.
130 B-girls have entered Outbreak Europe, which is one of the most B-girls showing up to a contest, actually. You have Battle of the Year, which hosts the 2-on-2 B-girl battle. The IBE hosts a B-girl battle. So there's a lot of these events from Holland to Germany to Slovakia. That's where Outbreak is.
Oh wow.
So there it just varies, it's in different places that they have these events. But yeah, I mean, there's also B-Grow events out there that are just catered strictly for B-Grows, like Queen Bee and all that was in the past. But in Europe,
130 B-girls is a lot of B-girls.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
We better get our
Sounds really
passport, man.
awesome, yeah.
get your passport, dog. Quit slipping.
Yeah.
So just to, I guess, sort of compare and contrast. I mean, how was it when you guys started out versus now in relation to the acceptance of females?
They were always there. I feel like it was just, again, like he said, like Sasso mentioned, it was, there wasn't a lot of them, but they've always, B-girls have always been
I've
involved.
always accepted them.
Yeah.
You're so brave. You're so brave.
Yeah, I mean, they've always been around, but yeah, it's always like, like I said, we outnumber the women in breaking. But also I think that has to do with just breaking seems like such a tough dance. And when you see, it's almost intimidating, so like your average girl will probably see a bunch of dudes being like, oh, hard and shit.
Yeah.
Well, breaking is just a male dominant dance or sport or whatever you want to call it. So it's almost like football or basketball where you have just more dudes that dance or break. If you're talking about basketball, then there's more male basketball players than there is female basketball players or football players.
Well, let me ask this.
Wait, why the fuck you laughing?
Because it's like there's more women basketball players than there is
Yeah,
dudes.
I was like, you say the obvious. I was trying to be nice and not say nothing, but it was just fucking
you're
hilarious.
fucking smirking over
Because
there.
it's funny as hell. It's like
Well, no, I mean, but they don't know that in breaking.
there's more guys
What if-
basketball players.
What if they don't know that about breaking though? Like, what if they think breaking is a bunch of females?
True.
Nobody thinks that's awesome.
I'm just saying, you never know.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Like, sometimes I'll come across a video and there's like a cipher, and then from my eyes, I'm just like, man, these guys got beef. I mean, how is the camaraderie in reality with the b-boy community?
Nowadays, it's a lot of acting.
Yeah.
They'll act like they're hard, and like they'll act like certain people will have beef with each other and stuff like that. But back in our day, if you had some kind of beef with somebody or some kind of animosity towards somebody, that was like
It got serious.
yeah, it was real. Like that was real. Like that was a serious feeling that you had against that person. But now it's like, people are trying to keep it peace. They're trying to, I don't know what they're trying to accomplish, but it's a lot more of I want to say acting, like in the whole cipher thing.
Yeah, it's become more of a competitive thing, and I guess since it's such a competition thing, everybody kind of just accepts it that's what it is, and you're being judged. Whereas before, a lot of the battles that would be happening were more personal, and they were in the circles or in the ciphers where there was no judges, so you'd be battling somebody and it'd get heated, and at that point you're no longer acting, because at that point it's like, well, what do you want to do? It was a little bit more.
Occasionally, it
intimidating.
would turn into a fight.
Yeah, occasionally it would turn into a fight, but that's from the era of the past. Like the '90s generation, and even before that, I think it was even tougher when it first started. But back then it was like you're playing with people's raps, so it's like people's putting they're putting their credibility on the line. Whereas now you could win a contest today and be, oh, well, I did good today, but the judge didn't think I won. So next week I'm gonna go to another contest and win with the same moves and the same things and beat the same people that I lost to the week before. So the whole dynamics of just the idea of a battle or being into a battle and really caring and giving a shit about like trying to defeat your opponent is not the same as it was 10, 15 years ago as it is today.
Mm-hmm.
But that has to do with just the evolution of where breaking has been going.
I see. So when you guys talk about your, your cruise, you guys want to rep your cruise?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Go ahead, Roger. I start that.
Yeah, I represent Renegades, Renegade Rockers from the San Francisco Bay Area. They've been around since 1983. I've been repping them since 2000. And I have other crews I'm affiliated with, Squadron and then the Rebel BC1 All-Stars.
Cool.
So I represent Rock So Fresh crew right here in San Diego, California. Obviously, Sasso, if you listen to the Not So Fresh podcast, Sasso represents Rock So Fresh. And that is the crew that I represent for breaking. And I actually represent it for any time I DJ, too. So, yeah.
All right. So I'm not in a crew. I just hang out. So
I thought you were play school.
I'm glad to be here, guys. So
I
thanks
thought
for
you were
having me.
repping play school.
I do not rep anything anymore except
You're
for
like,
Tough Rockin'.
play school. That's my crew.
If you were, no,
You don't remember that? You're
No.
probably drunk.
no, I don't remember that, but I do remember me going on that rant about how Rock So Fresh wouldn't let me in their crew, so then I quit.
Well,
They said,
It's a good thing we
damn, cold. Cold.
damn good thing we didn't. Anyways,
there you go,
yeah.
Sal.
So I
You are.
represent Rock So Fresh crew as well. When I DJ, I also represent Rock So Fresh. Yeah, that's it. Solely Rock So Fresh, and Not So Fresh podcast. ToughRockin.com.
Yeah.
I guess we're kind of like a crew. No, Mike.
Yeah,
You have a crew,
Tough
bro.
Rockin'.
You have a crew.
You got your tribe.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Represent ToughRockin.com.
There we go. Tough Rockin'.
So we're all about creativity on the Hall H Show podcast. How has your love for b-boying, I guess, how have you parlayed that into other endeavors?
Can I go first?
Go ahead.
No. So my name is
So,
Mike.
anyways,
So, anyways, cut this guy off. Go ahead, dude. Come on.
Actually, so we're talking about creating and just basically, whenever you learn how to be excellent in anything, which I never learned how to be excellent in breaking. Let me just go ahead and first state that. But whatever lessons you learn in learning something usually does transfer into other things. But one of the things that I learned from breaking actually came from being put in a position where someone asked me to throw an event back in 2002. And what ended up happening, created an event, started throwing multiple events, and then I actually found my career as like a project manager. So it actually did translate into something that grew into something more by taking the same lessons that I learned and the same methods I learned into applying it into a different way. All right, now you go, Sasso.
oh, my turn. Shit. Well, it's actually opened a lot of doors for me as far as being an entertainer, performing for a bunch of different shows and things.
Why are you leaving out the...
Hey, go ahead. Expand on one of those things.
I've performed for various artists. and
how did
stuff.
you
Like the name of.
So, anyways, because of breaking, I've been able to join many groups.
Such
One of them, Culture
as...
Shock, San Diego,
Right.
and then another one being Jabberwockies.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
So
Jabberwockies.
yeah, so that's opened a lot of doors for me, and also
He doesn't like to bring that up for some reason.
you know.
Yeah, you kind of had to pull it out. It's like pulling teeth there.
So yeah, I was part of a group called Jabberwockies.
You were
and,
part of my favorite moment in their history,
What's that?
which is when you were on America's
I was in
America's
the
Got
show.
Talent. America's Got Talent.
America's Got Talent. Yeah.
And when they looked at your crew and they're just like, no. They zoomed in on Sasso's
Oh, my
face.
face, yeah.
And he was like,
Especially my face.
For real?
No, I didn't do that. I didn't go. No.
maybe I embellished a little.
Anyway, so it's opened a lot of doors.
It's one of
for
my
me.
favorite parts.
I manage our dance group now at the San Diego Zoo. So yeah, I've learned a lot of the whole entertainment industry because of dancing. And just being personable, like with people, because of entertainment. So yeah, that's yeah. All right.
You don't like to talk about yourself either, man. Like you organize and produce shows,
Yeah,
and you're a good performer.
I have.
You don't like to talk about any of his.
Yeah.
his
No.
accomplishments.
I try to stay humble.
Aww.
So, anyways, Art.
Oh yeah. You know what? I started breaking in '95, and I never knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. And then always people are always like, you want to do this, you want to do that. And being of Filipino descent and background, you know, you have
Be a
parents.
nurse.
Yeah, be a nurse, be a doctor, you know, stuff like that. You want to be a doctor? You want to be a nurse? You don't want to be a doctor, nurse? How about you date a doctor or a nurse? Huh? You want to do this? You want to do that? No, I want to do. I want to be my own person. So eventually, I found out through hip hop and breaking, especially, that I was more of a creative head. I don't know if it was because my right brain didn't agree with my left side or anything like that, but it just seemed, and the tie-in with Hall H and the theme, I drew a lot of comics when I was younger. Like, I would take comic book covers and draw, and for some reason I love drawing the Hulk. I don't know why I love drawing the Hulk. Maybe
I can tell you why.
it's easier.
You like the muscles.
Yeah, I like muscles. That's why I stare at you all the time, dude.
There you go. There you go.
But I drew a lot of Hulk stuff. Like, so when I was younger in middle school, my older brothers would be out, and I couldn't go out because I was young. And I would draw a comic cover and show it to my parents, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's cool," and I'd go draw another. Eventually, I thought I wanted to do nursing because they put it in my head. And after my first year of junior college, I said, no, that's not really what I want to do. Started taking a lot of art classes, everything from fashion design to graphic design to, drawing, naked people. Because that's a requirement, for any art and design major, that I want to do interior design. After a year of that, I was like, no fucking way.
Not the exterior.
no, son. But interior design is a whole different story after you start learning that you have to learn codes and building requirements and codes. So it's like, I want to be more free. I want to do what I want to do, and graphic design was it. And I learned more of that because of like the free feeling that you get through dancing and doing what you want to do within some of the limits. Led me to graphic design. And a lot of the hip-hop artists that were coming up in San Diego were also graphic designers as well. Shout out to DJ Demon, Jay Solo from, why am I drawing a blank? From Sound Providers. They're graphic designers. It's just like another artistic outlet, and it just was a good thing. Excuse me. But, it was another thing that I did where, like, I thought I was going to be, like, doing all these cool things. But, it's something you do for other people. It's a business. Mm-hmm. And you don't always get to do the things that you always want to do. But that's what freelance work is for. So, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's my story.
Cool.
Yeah, for me, breaking is my career actually, but I also create content and ways to promote myself through my own vision, which means I create video content, a lot of video content. I started editing videos in 2000, and from there it was something that kind of was in and out of my life because of limitations at the time. That was really an expensive thing to get into. But when it became more affordable, I started getting more into it again, and I actually created a solo DVD, which I edited myself and pretty much shot. Kind of ghetto, and then definitely ghetto, selling it straight out of the trunk, and then which eventually led to photography and creating a web series for Red Bull. Called The Crew Code, and also helping with The Crew Code, it was an idea about presenting crews to the masses, but through the eyes of people that break, and telling the story and connecting the stories of each crew in different ways. But yeah, I mean, editing and shooting is the thing that I really enjoy doing outside of breaking, and breaking led me into that because through video is the way that a lot of people got inspired. So it was the videotapes that we would watch when we were kids, because you couldn't go to every jam back then. So you'd see the tapes. And then when people started creating their own solo tapes or their own or highlight videos of events, that was inspirational as well, because they specifically picked the best parts that they thought were dope, that would inspire people. And that's, so once you saw that yourself, then it's like that carried for me over. Okay, well, how do you do that? Well, you have to, shoot with your camera and edit it and everything. And that's kind of what that's a creative outlet that I can do outside of breaking, that breaking inspired.
Cool. Jason, how has your breakdancing experience parlayed into?
I feel like if you gave Jason a few drinks, then he would just let loose.
You know, I remember in elementary school because I would have been a kid at the age when it really was kind of starting to be a thing or whatever. I mean, I don't know the history that well, so I don't want to try and speak more knowledgeable than I am, but I remember kids at school doing it, and it was kind of like a superpower thing. I never really attempted it because some of it looked dangerous.
Probably is,
Yeah.
I remember one of my. I do have one good little anecdote, though, for me, anyways. I'll never forget this moment. Junior high, there was this one, that one teacher that's always kind of a little bit of a hard ass, but he would always do it with a little bit of comedy. But it's still he was always riding you, and I was one of the guys he'd always ride, but he rode everybody. And we were at like our junior high dance is like 9th grade, middle school. We had junior high and just a 3-year high schooler. So it's our last year, and it's our dance, and a little breaking circle forms, and a couple people are doing it, and we're all just hadn't seen breaking in a few years at least, so it's totally, everybody was loving it. All of a sudden I feel this, and I just get pushed out of the way, and I'm like, what I was kind of pissed because I just felt pushed out of the way. I turn around, and it's Mr. Steckel. I think that's what his name was. This
one of your
teacher
teachers.
that rides you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mr.
and he was a
Steckel.
gym teacher.
Oh, okay. That's
He was, he had a rod up his ass, so we were like really shocked that he would to have anything cool coming from him, right? He gets down and he's fucking pommel horsing just on the flat ground and shit, and it blew the whole room away. We were like cheering.
So was he a gymnast?
Like a
Yeah,
Thomas, like a
well,
Thomas
he was a
Flair?
gym teacher.
He was a
Thomas
gymnast.
Flair, right?
Flair.
Was he like all the Jim Cotta on you?
Dude, I'm always impressed when people get that reference, man. I'm like,
Jim Cotta?
Jim Cotta,
Come on,
yeah.
dude. Kurt Thomas, dude. He was the star of that movie.
Thomas Flair, man.
Yeah, he did Thomas Flair. Come on, dude. Oh, man. Come on.
And I remember when the movies came out, that was, it's like, whoa, they got a movie. I mean, it just sounded so cool and everything. I don't know that I saw both of them, but I know I saw at least one of them. And a little movie trivia: the guy that made that, the guys that produced those movies, were kind of like schlock kings, and they schlocked up my universe just a few years later because they were, I believe, Canon Films, and they were the guys that did the low budget Dolph Lundgren Punisher,
Yeah,
low
yeah.
budget Captain America.
They did Beat Street.
Yeah,
those guys.
Electric
Yeah.
Boogaloo. The guy, one of the producers, he did like 3 different films where he used the word boogaloo. I saw this on a documentary because, it's just weird. He kept reusing that, and the Breaking movie was like not the first time. There was this weird rock opera disaster movie he made called The Apple around 1980 or 76 that was like this hippie love fest, trying to be a Rocky Horror Picture Show for hippies, or it was just insane. I was watching a YouTube video on it, and the villain is called Mr. Boogaloo, though some actors pronounce it Bugaloo, even though it's pronounced, and the guy doing the video goes, yeah, the producer, he must have liked that because he's also the guy that did Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo, and I'm like, that is such a weird bit of trivia.
And it's funny because I think there's a documentary about those guys that did all that.
Yeah,
all those movies.
Menachem Golan and Yoram Golis.
Yeah.
Yoram Globus. Yeah, because I remember we were talking in the previous podcast on your guys' podcast about how people read things phonetically or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, his name is Menahem, so it looks like Menahem. And I've heard so many people, but they're Israeli guys, so there's a little Menachem, you know, and so I still to this day hear people go, Menahem, and it just sounds so quaint to me. But yeah, those guys were crazy, and you're right. There's a documentary on them specifically, right? I have not seen that.
There was like a big production of like series of movies that they made. Have you never heard of one?
I never heard of. I didn't know that I've heard of all those movies individually. I never knew that they were. There's one group responsible for them all.
Yeah.
Like Delta Force,
which is hilarious.
Missing in Action.
I think they did
know,
American Ninja too.
Yeah, right. If not that, it's that style.
Yeah.
Do not diss Michael Dudikoff in front of me. All right? That's the American Ninja.
No.
damn.
I made my
like
sister
those
take me
movies.
to American Ninja.
Too?
Not. It might have been. I'd have to check the years. I could actually. I figured it'd be
That was
about
my-
90
that
or
was my
something like
favorite
that.
American Ninja, by
But
the way.
I didn't think that American Ninja was gonna be any good. But I missed those 80s ninja movies, Enter the Ninja and Revenge of the Ninja. And
Those are all great.
yeah, I missed those so much when the Dudikoff one, I don't know which one it was, it came out. I'm like, oh, fuck it, let's just try this. Maybe there'll be some stars, some ninja stars and shit. So
I'll tell you, my favorite was Surf Ninjas.
wow.
Hands down, Surf Ninjas.
Is that the same director?
You got three Filipino. No, they got three
It was always
Filipinos up in there.
Filipinos, wasn't it?
Three Filipinos up in there, dude.
Yeah. Ernie Reyes Jr.
Yeah,
Ernie
Ernie
Reyes
Reyes was
Jr.
like always the dude.
His
I like
dad
how-
was in there.
My favorite Ernie Reyes Jr. movie was Last Dragon.
No, of course.
that was-
And Ninja Turtles too.
Yeah, actually, we were in
There we go. Alex, where you at, man? Where you been, dude?
San Jose, and we were at the Silicon Valley Comic Con,
Uh-huh.
and they had a little demo with his school, and his dad still ripped and
Right?
still practicing, and he had his shirt off and everything.
There's Ernie Reyes.
But Ernie Reyes Jr.
Ernie Reyes
Dad.
Sr.
Yeah.
But
was-
Ernie Reyes Jr. Like I heard he had some health problems recently.
Yeah, recently he had some health problems, but he looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all
I
right.
think he had to go through some dialysis or something. Like that.
Oh, okay.
But I think he's good now.
Good, yeah.
good, yeah.
Freaking dude, man.
That's a
Come
tough
on, man.
condition
Like,
to have.
Grow up on that guy.
Well, since Alex chimed in, I'm going to turn over the podcast to him on our Thunder Round.
Thunder Round.
It's our
Thunder round. I'm trying to get them to let me record a thunder round. You know,
There it
and
is.
Thundercats.
There it
audio
is.
clip that they can play. Right, exactly.
it's our off the beaten path questions.
Mm-hmm.
So take it away, Alex.
All right.
All right. So first question would be, what superhero villain best represents you and why?
Dude. Oh. Go ahead. Start.
I'm often referred to as Darth Vader.
Why?
I don't
You have to
know,
explain.
man.
You have to explain why.
I don't know. That's mostly like my brother Eddie E. Swift, my other little brother. They're like, oh, here comes Darth Vader.
I've never heard anyone say that.
No, it's like look, I even have it.
He's calling bullshit on that.
No, look, that's why they Eddie gave me the Darth Vader keychain.
Okay.
But anyways, I don't know why. But you gotta ask them why.
You can't give yourself your own nickname.
Yeah, dude, you gotta ask them why. Yeah, that's probably the first one that pops into my
Alright.
head.
Mike?
Dude, I can't think of one.
Why are you so
Dude,
mad? Because I'm
mad because I can't think of one. Like,
The Hulk came up with an answer, and he
Yeah,
can't.
yeah. That's
And I was stalling. I was like, let me distract real quick.
oh, I know.
How about Ninja Turtles?
I was gonna say.
Boy, all
This
that,
guy's referred to as a Ninja Turtle, but that's not a villain, though.
yeah, all that time you bought didn't really help much, did it?
You can be hero or villain. Doesn't
Oh,
matter.
okay.
Oh, dude, obviously Wolverine, man, because I'm short.
Shut the
fucking,
fuck up, dude.
fucking internal demons, dude, bitch. You don't
You're
even know
more
me.
of a Michael
No,
Bay Ninja Turtle.
Logan. I am old man.
So,
I am old man Logan.
Rockstray, when you because he's the
He came up with the name.
originator of him calling
Ninja
him
Turtle.
Ninja Turtle. Which one did you like see him as?
No,
Because he's obviously not Michelangelo.
I'm not. Why is that?
'Cause you're not cool like Michelangelo. Is he more like a? No, he's not even Donatello because Donatello's smart.
Raphael.
Whoa, boy!
So we're
So,
looking
Ninja Turtles.
so
Oh,
so art
see that?
within Tough Rocking, Art is our art director, right? Like Art is the one who designs all our stuff. Art's the one who like puts all. So, Aaron, you've worked with Art before, so maybe you can relate to this. I ask Art like, "Hey, I need you to make a press kit for Rocks Ride. Hey, I need you to make some T-shirts." This fool sends me a fucking digital copy of me as a Ninja Turtle.
I think I still have a copy of all the like parody stuff we used to
Dude,
Like that-
you don't understand.
I'm sure.
When I worked with Aaron, our friend Chris Robinson was our other designer that we always joked around all the time with each other. And oh man, I cherish those times with Aaron and Chris. But we had some good times where we would Photoshop each other's heads on different people, man. Oh, I'm dying right now because
Dude, I was dying when I saw that.
Yeah.
I remember coming home from lunch. I was drunk off of mimosas.
That's not even. You know which one's better? Like this one time, I asked him to make something, and he just threw out this one with me as a midget, and that show was hilarious.
Are you talking about that one right there?
I asked him to make something else, and then he sends me this, and I'm like. Meanwhile, I needed a press kit for Rocks Ride for a month. We've been waiting since
That's
May.
where those come from.
Yeah. That's great. I'm glad you finally did it. All right, but it warms my heart to know that you found time to do these other.
This is very important to me.
That is disturbing.
It's very true to my. That's a midget, by the way.
Jesus Christ.
You fucking assholes are lucky I have a sense of humor.
vertically challenged if you're
quit
PC,
already.
I guess.
Okay, so villain or hero?
Oh man.
More villain.
More villain for me. You know what? I'm gonna say. I'm gonna think on my wife's behalf and say the Riddler, because every time she asks me something, I give her like a
An
question.
indirect.
A question back.
Yeah.
Like.
Answer a question with a question.
Yeah, exactly. She'd be like, "Do you know what happened? Did the dog piss over here?" I'm like, "Hey, no, I didn't whip my thing out and piss over there and blamed it on the dog." Ha ha ha! And she'll look at me like, "What the fuck is wrong with you, dude?" Like, you know,
Dude,
like,
you know what? The rest of the world has that same view of you, man. Because like you're very cryptic and not very direct.
yeah, I have these weird jokes about me. And I'll be like, Rock's right over here kind of knows. I have the stupid like
I feel
humor.
sorry for Rockstar, man. He
And
gives you the most.
I'll pull the humor on him. Paulina here probably hasn't heard a lot of it in the past couple days. And I'll have this stupid humor about me. I'm like, oh, so what if you did this and this and that? And it's kind of stupid, but people laugh at it anyway.
Do they? Do they?
Well, they're laughing because you're part of the joke, Mike.
I'll tell you what you do, man. You also do this thing where like you act mad and then you leave, and then I'm like, was he fucking really mad? I don't fucking know.
That takes time to hang out with me, and you realize the truth.
You're hilarious, man.
Yes. Well, that's it for me.
Rocks, right?
Me, I don't know. I don't really. I've never been compared to a villain. I can't compare myself to one.
if you want.
Yeah, be a
I
hero.
hear. And I mean, damn.
He's like, there's
Come on,
so,
go ahead.
He,
Who
he said it like,
resonates with
damn,
you?
A hero.
there's so many.
Nah, I guess compared to, I've never been compared to any.
Who
heroes
would you
either.
see yourself
Yeah,
as?
who do you see?
Richie Valens?
I guess Batman, because it's like for a while when I was delivering pizzas, I would just deliver the pizzas, and then by weekends I'd go battle.
Oh.
And battle the top b-boys in the world. So I'd win and come back to my regular job and delivering pizzas, and people would be like, "So you won?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I did win," and they would all kind of be like, "What the fuck?"
But Batman was a billionaire.
In
Yeah, if I was a broke person,
I don't
Batman-
understand the
Mild-mannered
connection.
pizza delivery boy by day.
Yeah.
well, if
And then
anything,
rocks right at the weekend.
So you were like a genius somehow, and then like you were like engineering stuff.
You were
Like,
Bruce Wayne, you were Deuce Wayne.
yeah, I broke Wayne. Shit, broke Wayne. No, it was just I guess like nobody would know that I break. I just deliver their pizzas, and then I'm winning world championships on the weekends.
if anything, that reminds me of Ernie Reyes Jr. in Revenge of the Ooze.
oh shit.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah,
he's
Ninja
delivering
Turtles,
pizzas,
the real
and then
Ninja
he's-
Turtles.
The real Ninja Turtles.
So there you go, fucking Schmuckatello and Ernie Reyes Jr.
See, you happy now, Rox? Right now, you're a fucking Ninja Turtle too.
No, he's Ernie.
I don't,
Oh,
I don't look like one though.
He's the Ninja Turtle stunt double.
Just before we continue with Thunder just you said Ninja Turtles. Just a little shout out to Kevin Eastman. He has
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He has an office down at the comic book gallery down in Liberty Station.
Really?
Yeah,
No way.
yeah. So you guys should check it out sometime.
Wait, is he there ever? Is
Well,
he
he's there sometimes.
Right now?
They say he shows up sometimes and does little work, but it's basically like moved his studio into the gallery, and it's surrounded by windowed walls. So most of the time it's not. It's part of the gallery because it's not just an easel with his drawing board. It's all the memorabilia that he would surround himself while he's, you know. So it's you feel like you're looking into, you know, his bedroom or something.
Is that the kamikaze?
There's something I wanted to bring up.
Across the way.
Oh shit.
Are you guys Walking Dead fans at Hall H?
Sure.
Sure.
Well, not anymore.
Mostly reference.
not since Glenn
there
died.
was a reference to Kevin Eastman. The reference to Kevin Eastman on Walking Dead when they had what's his name doing the bow staff training.
Yeah.
You guys,
Morgan.
Morgan.
They did a TMNT reference?
They had a TMNT reference, and I thought you
Nice.
guys might know.
No.
Oh man, they totally did it. I forgot. But anyway, sorry. I thought you might.
I'm not that far into the show.
We'll
I'm gonna have
scratch
to,
that.
I'll
No,
look for
dude,
that.
I
I'll
stopped
look for
watching
it.
like a season ago, and sorry, dude. I thought you guys might know.
I
Anyways.
don't remember.
There's a total reference to Kevin Eastman in there, because like there's it flashed back to the guy that trained Morgan on using the staff, and his name I think was Eastman.
Yeah, okay, I remember now.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Brought
That's
back.
interesting.
So that was it, right? His name was Eastman. Am I wrong or right?
You're correct. You're correct.
Okay, damn. Okay, I had to bring it back.
Good eye.
All right, cool.
All right, so let's have a battle.
All right, let's go.
Is that the end
During
of the Thunder
competitions, is it 3-on-3 or 5-on-5 more common?
Depends on the
round? More on
promoter.
guy on guy.
Okay,
Oh,
let's do
Now I know why your wife is an ex-wife.
let's do a
the
3
one with the
3-on-3.
penny between her legs.
All right,
Okay, let's have a 3-on-3 battle.
Okay.
You two and against you two, and you guys pick 3 superheroes or villains be on your team as a b-boy or b-girl. Who would you pick?
Shit.
Superhero villains.
them two against us two.
Yeah.
Are you choosing one?
I mean, shit, you just choose the galactic ones, like fucking.
Yeah. Okay.
The ones that
right
eat
off
planets?
right off the top of my head, Wolverine.
God damn it! I just told you what to say. You
No,
said it.
fuck you.
I'm like the
That was the top
galactic
of my
one.
head.
Like you could have done Cosmic Spider-Man. You could have done Silver Surfer, Galactus. All right, never mind.
Thor.
Really?
Yeah, you could have. I mean, those are all stronger
What?
people.
Which one? Choose one, motherfucker.
Yeah, fuck, dude. Galactus.
And then one more. We need
Thanos.
one more. Okay. Dang. Okay.
Wait, so I can't choose what they already chose.
No.
Apparently not.
Okay.
We went first.
But you could kill
Are
Wolverine.
you supposed to do 3-on-3? You
No.
get
3-on-3.
another third
No,
one, right?
Can't really.
Yeah, you can. He's dead.
Or did you pick 3?
You can chime in too, Jason, if you want later.
Wait, did you guys already pick your?
Yeah, we picked.
Yeah.
three.
Wolverine, Thanos.
All right, let's do this.
Thanos.
Pick one, and we'll
Thanos.
go back and forth.
Oh, okay. So they were good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
We'll have a draft.
made it
We'll
hard.
have a b-boy
I
draft.
can't,
So we got
That's what
Sasso
she
and
said.
we got is it Sasso and Mike? Okay, Sasso and Mike versus Distill and Rockslide.
This guy's fucking googling shit.
Dude, I'm trying to remember some names.
You cheater.
No, off the
dude.
top of your
Right
head.
now,
Okay.
you gotta name.
Come on.
Hey, come
Yeah,
correct
that's
right now.
cheating.
Dude,
I
just
wanna
think
need
of
some help
Super Friends and name a couple of them. They're all pretty tough.
Okay, you
Well,
guys can
I
go
think we
first.
already won.
Go pick the first.
We have to pick all new ones.
It doesn't matter how.
Well, we'll
strong
go back
they
and
are.
forth, so it'll be. a little
You
more fair.
are being punished for their incompetence.
Yeah.
Pick new stuff.
Yeah. Shit. We're doing the galactic.
Galactic ones.
Fuck.
That's what going all out is like outer space.
Well, it's just because it's.
Typically, that just means they're going to be powerful.
Okay, Superman. Superman.
Yeah, there you go. See?
I got one. Oh, okay.
Is this
Okay, now it's their
limited?
turn.
Is this limited?
Good work, Sasso.
Thor.
Wait,
Nah,
It's Thor?
he picked Thor.
wait, happened. You guys picked Superman. He picked Thor. Is that what
Yeah,
happened?
that's what he did. That's what he did.
Wait, come back.
You know, like Superman will be able to pick up his hammer and shit, right? You know how that works. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, go.
Let's say Green Lantern.
Doctor Strange.
Damn it, that was actually a really good one. he was sandbagging us.
He googled
I
it.
didn't Google. I
He
didn't
googled
The
it.
guy that had to Google a minute ago. Now
Yeah, I
he's
know.
back.
And then right off the bat, he was like, "Oh yeah. Doctor Doolittle."
No, Doctor Strange. Doctor. Oh, no, keep going. keep
Doctor,
going. I could use other stuff, right? Okay.
To use the other stuff.
Don't we have one more? We have one more.
Yeah, we got one more, dude. What's the one we're gonna use?
Can we still use Thanos?
Damn it, dude. See if you got Google, dude. I'm gonna Google that.
I didn't Google shit.
That DC character.
I started typing and then I didn't.
Wait, can we still use Thanos?
Yeah, sure. I just was trying to be difficult.
Oh.
When you say Galactus, dude, he eats fucking planets. That's like my favorite thing to say.
Okay. Do you agree?
Our answer is Galactus.
Oh, I was gonna say.
Devourer of worlds.
Really?
What? What's the ace up your sleeve?
Galactus.
What's the ace up your sleeve?
I said Thanos.
Did you guys already use Thanos?
I initially said Thanos.
An earlier one.
I like it. They're pronouncing it the way I pronounced it when I was a 10-year-old kid.
So
reading
Thanos is
Yeah.
open,
We
right?
heard that conversation. We're like, you know what? I don't care how smart he sounds. Fuck that. It's Thanos.
Okay, well then, Thanos with the full gauntlet. All gems, all
I
gems.
thought he was gonna checkmate himself.
All
with it. I'm
gems.
like, how could Thanos be more powerful than Oh, you did
With
it.
all
You
gems.
did it.
With all the gems.
It's a gems or stones.
Stones.
We could have still.
The movie is not correct. The movie has done their own changing, like, because there they call them stones. They're infinity
Like
gems
Infinity
in the comic
Stones or
books.
something like that.
Yeah.
But that's something, just like how the cosmic cube, one of the first of the stones or gems or whatever, was the cosmic cube that in Captain America, that blue cube, they call it the Tesseract, because cosmic cube sounds too comic booky. We can't use weird terminology like that. But yes, any comic book fan, it's the cosmic cube. I mean, so stones, gems, it's gone by both.
What are your thoughts on cubes of Energon?
Energon cubes? Hell yeah, dude. Transformers G1, baby.
No, he had a really detailed thought about that. So I was like, well, let me ask a random thing. Never mind.
Yeah, where the hell are they getting Energon cubes on Earth? We just
See, I told you, Art, you would have a thought on it.
you dig that out of the ground and it comes out in cubes, squares.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
I always wondered that as a kid.
Yeah, kind of.
No cubes of
Scientific-
Energon.
they could have explained
It's
it a
not
little better.
scientifically possible
That's
to
what I
get
thought. All right.
to get an actual.
All right, so you won, Art.
Well, we did.
So it was Superman, Thor,
Thanos.
But we had
Superman,
Yeah,
Green Lantern,
Green
Galactus.
Lantern, and Galactus against Thor, Doctor Strange, and Thanos with the.
Here's the thing. This is what I wanted to look up. I forgot the name of Adam
Warlock.
Adam Warlock. He's stronger than Superman.
No, not necessarily.
No, he's not. They're not.
Yes, he is.
No, he's
Well,
not.
maybe,
No.
maybe with the soul gem, he has,
He's actually a guy in the Marvel Universe I don't know a ton about. I've got a few comics random
Well,
with him,
according
but-
according to the Marvel Universe, he can only lift like 40 tons over his head. But I'm still sure Superman's
But he's
strong.
one of those weird guys that part of their power is the magic and
Yeah,
all
the
that
soul
crap.
gem.
So it's really so
soul
it's
gem.
like, well, what does that mean? It's really difficult to quantify, at least on my limited knowledge of that. I mean, you know what I mean? It's not just the bench press strength or whatever.
Oh, well, me and Sasso argue about this all the time. Because he thinks he's stronger than I am.
I am actually.
Because, oh, no, man, I'm stronger. Yeah, this
I
is
can't
hilarious.
bench press as much
This is
as
hilarious.
this guy can.
This conversation's hilarious, though. Paulino, let's have a woman's perspective on
Yeah.
what we just talked about.
Yeah.
Which super?
All right, thunder round for Paulina. Who would you pick?
Paulina.
Well,
Which
she might
comic
be
book
smart enough
character?
to pick Wonder Woman. I can't believe none of you guys thought of that. I mean, she's
Dude, she got
fucking
choked out by
Superman.
Aquaman.
I'll pick.
She can't choose her.
I'll choose Gal Gadot.
There you go.
You're so
Okay,
brave.
are
What are
you
you
talking
choosing her for?
just to look at? Just kidding.
What a
Well
gentleman.
chosen.
Yeah.
What a gentleman. What a gentleman.
All I heard was gag.
Gal Gadot. Dirty mother.
Hey, ooh.
All right, here's a pretty easy one. What would you do with $1 million?
Back to the thunder
Wait, what?
round.
Say
$1 million.
one
$1
more
million.
time.
What would you do?
What would I do with $1 million?
If we were a superhero, or just $1 million. Okay.
Yourself.
I'm immediately taken back to one of my favorite movies where one guy goes, a really big car. Three Amigos.
What would you do?
Yeah, all right, what would you do?
Invest. Real estate.
No, you
instantly. That's it. Real estate.
Really?
Yeah.
How about someone gave you $1 million and be like, yo, you have $1 million and you cannot have $1 million by tomorrow. Like you got to blow through all that
Like
shit.
$1 million to
You got to
one?
be reckless.
Brewster's Millions,
Yeah,
that old 80s
exactly.
with Richard Pryor.
Which is like one of the best movies that like they need to they should, if you're gonna
Then
remake one.
blow
Oh,
it
that
all-
would be a good
blow it
remake,
on
but-
in $1 million house
Jeez, man.
and sit on it until it becomes
yeah.
a $25 million house. Duh.
That's what I told my ex-wife. Sit on it.
There you go. If you want the typical response from me like 10 years ago, then throw a fucking party on a fucking yacht with like DJs and strippers.
That's what I want to hear. I want to hear
There you go.
irresponsibility.
Okay, and you want more? You want more? You want to hear more?
Yeah. What? Oh, actually, I wanted to go dark now. Go dark.
So
what's
I'm
the
gonna
darkest thing
I'm
you
gonna
can
have
do?
strippers, and the stripper's gonna be like Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane. Yeah, you like that?
Sasso,
You're gonna be-
Sasso, save us.
That's dark.
All right, let's go. Here's a scenario.
No.
A millionaire goes, "Hey, you and Art have a contest. Who gets more belligerent and dirty with $1 million?"
With $1 million.
Yeah, like who comes up or who spends $1 million and has a better story? Because like if I gave you $1 million and you just did that, I'd be kind of bored. I'd be like, yeah, dude, anyone could have done that.
Yeah.
What would you have done?
I was. My answer was probably gonna be more similar. My thing was I was gonna buy a house in Kensington.
Oh, nice.
So that was like.
Yeah, we're
investing
adults,
probably-
Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem, Sasso, is they said only $1 million.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, actually, the
Right.
houses in Kensington run about 1.5, 1.8
Okay.
million.
Well,
I was joking. I don't know how much they are. I just know that
Well,
they're
I
out of
look at
my
them
range.
often.
Since we're
1.5,
running
yeah.
everything, Art.
I would just spend it on a bunch of cocaine and strippers.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
In
In Kensington.
None of you guys would make like a rap video.
in Guadalajara, yeah.
Because this is my thing too. Because like $1 million, if you were given $1 million, like that's still like it's not the same anymore. you know?
It's not that much.
Yeah.
You're still
Ah.
limited. So what would you do?
Yeah, what do you do, Mike?
I just said I'd make a rap video.
Rap video.
Serious.
Boats,
like,
boats and hose.
yeah,
and hoes.
I'd make something that's like epic and ridiculous and like has a hilarious story and that I can look back on it and laugh.
Hip-hop.
That's great.
Your answer, Sasso, I heard that on the news once. You know how every time the lottery gets
Yeah,
super
yeah.
huge and they always send some, idiot reporter out to, to
Check up on the person?
and interview people in line to buy tickets and all that crap. And she walks up to this dude and she goes, "What do you do with the money?"
Oh, I've seen
And
yeah.
he goes, "Hookers and blow." That's
Yeah.
not what you're thinking. Back to you, Phil.
Yeah.
They get all scared, dude. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, it's an honest response from
That's an
somebody
honest-
you ask
yeah.
in public.
Well,
Like, why are you gonna get scared?
Yeah, right. And
The news.
What were you expecting, lady?
They're expecting like some
Yeah.
like fairy tale story, dude. Like you ask this dude that looks like he's from the street.
I was gonna say I didn't want to be stereotypical, but yeah, clearly the dude.
That's what I would say, even though I wasn't serious. If
Oh,
I
right,
knew if I was going to be on
exactly.
TV, I'd be like, strippers and cocaine.
Yeah.
You know?
Even though I'm talking crap, I wouldn't do that stuff. I would invest in it and do something
Liar.
responsible with it. But inside, I'd be like, oh, dude, I want to go dark. Let's go dark. Let's make something happen. Something that will last forever.
DJ.
Yeah. Yeah, something ridiculous.
All right, Rock's right. What would you do?
Yeah, Rock's right.
$1 million.
I would buy some properties, but then I would probably start some businesses and throw probably one of the biggest events I could throw in breaking.
And
only like
let you win.
$1,000?
So it's like
No, I wouldn't
basically-
enter. I would just throw the event. And I probably wouldn't say. I
Would
could
you
throw it.
hire like
Great idea. I love that.
old breakdancers that
No, I would not.
that change
No.
five times?
No,
Change out.
no,
Sensing a little hostility towards
Yeah.
the elder breaking community.
no. It was just we saw something today that was kind of. It's in the middle. It's like heartbreaking, but not heartbreaking. But
All
it's
right.
like fuck.
I like that though. His answer is to push forward the medium, the art form. Very selfless.
I do like his answer better than the other two guys. I was
Yeah,
just like,
okay.
that was
Yeah,
boring.
I'd
Yeah,
say throw
okay.
you in too for that.
What about your own answer? A rap video?
Yeah, a rap video.
A rabbit? Do you even rap?
Hey,
Who's gonna direct?
The house in
Who's
Kensington.
gonna direct? Hype Williams?
For the record,
Williams.
I'm being judged by two
Hype
vloggers
Williams.
who are like making just like these low budget like videos. Man, dude,
Low
come
budget,
on.
dude.
Come on, dude.
I don't
Think
want to be
big.
stereotypical, but
Let's think big. What would you
yeah.
spend that money on?
Yeah, this guy wants to shoot.
What would be a good
Okay,
time?
this guy wants to shoot the big Pimpin' video again, like 15 years later. Okay, cool.
Not even, dude. I would actually, no.
You wouldn't do anything.
I wouldn't do
okay.
that.
What kind of
In my rap video, there'd be a lot of like stuff blowing up and
Yeah,
just
that's
a lot
Hype
of
Williams,
stupid,
right?
a lot of stupid shit. Yeah, I would do some stupid shit.
Yeah, you would.
Why would you guys don't ever think about doing some stupid shit like just being
I
bald?
always think about.
I think it would
So
just
what
be
would
you.
do?
It would just be you
That's
vlogging
just
yourself.
on a normal day of mine. I don't need $1 million.
Dude, I'll tell you
for
what.
that.
As soon as I get $1 million, the thing I couldn't wait
Yeah, I
to
was
do
gonna
is
say
go
that
to
about
work.
the hookers and blow. That's
Yeah,
just a
yeah.
Wednesday
That's the thing I
for me.
could
That's
wait
what
to
happens every night.
Hookers and blow.
$1 million is not that much
It's
nowadays.
not. You know.
I just been
Well,
waiting
that's
to
for the
wrap
one
this
that
shit
doesn't
up.
have
But
it.
you're acting like it is.
It's kind of a lot.
What's that?
You're acting like it is.
Think about how. Think about
not-
how. No, but think how much you
It's
have to
enough
work
to
to
like
make $1
make
million.
some changes, but it's like,
Hey, Dr.
know.
Evil, it's not as much as you think.
no, I'm totally saying that. It's not.
All right. What's the
But
next
how long
question,
do you have to work
Alex?
to make $1 million?
Yeah, next question, please.
Let's get on before these guys get crazy.
All right, it's 2 a.m. at a karaoke joint. You have the last song. What do you say?
Aren't you supposed to sing "Don't Stop Believing"? Isn't
Yeah,
that the
Journey.
rule?
Journey.
I thought that was the rule.
On principle because of Arnel Pineda.
Is that your answer, Mike?
I'm just saying because these guys are going with like
You're-
status quo
you're-
shit. I'm like, if you don't want to be creative, you say that, right? I would like to challenge you guys to be creative. So I took the obvious answer.
Yeah.
Would you quit holding back, Mike? It's hard to get anything out of you.
Oh.
That's what I do. That's what I do.
Love it, love it.
First thing that's popped in my head is
Hey, while you're
sailing.
thinking,
Sailing.
Christopher Cross? Is that
Yes.
what it is?
sailing away.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa, whoa,
Christopher
whoa,
Cross,
whoa.
That's a good one though.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Sailing
Is the-
takes me away where I won't do. All right, I know.
No, I'm thinking about my answer. I don't like it when you look me deep in my eyes. All right, I
I
have to
can
look
do
away. I know you do that a lot. Art,
Well, they're dreamy eyes. To be honest.
Dreamy eyes.
his eyes are dreamy. That's what the problem is. I'm like, stop it.
Getting lost in them.
Art, can you
I already said
save
the
this
I
conversation?
already said the Arnel Pineda version, dude.
Oh, you did? Oh, my bad. My bad.
Journey?
Yeah?
Oh man, that's so
The what
Filipino
version?
of you.
The Arnel Pineda
That is
version.
so Filipino of you.
Yeah, well, he's like the dude that took over for
Steve Perry.
Steve Perry.
Is that a Sopranos reference? The fact that it's the last song that has nothing to do with it. Is it just because it's Journey? Is that why that
I just spent a lot of time in karaoke bars, and that's usually the last song.
got it?
You don't want to ask him about his time.
It's a
in those.
go-to.
Yeah,
And you're
it's-
right. You know, generic bullshit go-to.
Yeah,
no
there's a
doubt.
couple of songs that I always sang at karaoke bars. One is what's the other one?
Piano Man.
I hear that from time to time. But what's the one about the some Neil Diamond songs, like those ones?
Oh, Sweet Caroline.
Yes,
Because
that's
then everybody sings. Like,
Yeah, so there's always the classics and stuff like that.
yeah.
Wait, so sorry. This is kind of like a side thing, but I don't know if this is an El Paso thing, but you know the
you told
Moni
me-
Moni
Yeah,
thing?
yeah, you told me about this. I never heard that.
Billy Idol.
Yeah, the here she
said
comes
Billy Idol.
down singing Moni Moni. Do you guys know the in between like sing along thing? Is that like I don't know?
Oh yeah. I forget what the actual lines are, but you're right. There were like these extra words made up for the crowd to shout
Yeah,
back
yeah,
at
yeah.
him,
That
and
was
they
like,
go
yeah,
back,
bum,
You
forth,
guys-
bum,
back,
bum.
forth.
What were they?
Oh, I
know?
can't tell you. I'd have to think about it for a second. Yeah. I never actually knew it that
You're allowed
well.
to use Google if you want nowadays.
Oh no,
guys.
it's hey everybody get fucked, get drunk or something like that.
Yeah, when you said that, I was like,
Yeah.
no, that doesn't.
Yeah, well that's what
I
we
think
would
that's
sing
right,
along. Yeah.
actually. That
Yeah,
sounds familiar.
I was
yeah.
appalled.
So it was like, here
like,
she
how dare you,
comes
Billy
down
Idol sings
singing
this.
Monet, Monet.
How about you, Rox, right?
Everybody get drunk, get
I've
fucked.
never been in a karaoke really.
Matches
Well,
the
we're about
Yeah.
to take you, bro.
No, you're not.
Yeah,
I sense a challenge.
I don't know. Well, I feel like I can't pick like a hip hop song. Shit, Phil
No, you
Collins,
can.
some in
A
there.
karaoke song.
that's a good one.
Which one?
Can you
the air
imagine him
tonight?
singing in the
Yeah.
air tonight?
In the air tonight.
You imagine him seeing that shit? That should be comedy. All serious too.
It's like it reminds you of the intro to Paid in Full. You seen that shit?
Yes, the movie.
That shit is tight. That's why.
All right.
Let's make that
What's next, Alex?
Okay. All right. Last question.
Last one around.
That'd be like a million hits.
Last question in the thunder round. Thunder
You could
round.
have dinner with anyone dead or alive. Who would it be, and where would you eat at?
Oh, dang.
Damn, man.
Some racist shit.
There's a lot. Go ahead, guys. There's a lot. No, I can't even think of them right now. I'm still thinking. So you have to process that
Some
one.
racist ass shit's gonna come out. Bro.
No, go ahead.
Fuck. If you can have dinner with anyone dead or alive, damn, man, that's like a tough one because it's just like
So many.
and not only that, you feel a lot of pressure because if you don't select, because then people are gonna be like, you select freaking Flavor Flav, like why would you do that? You know, but it's like, but I just
Wait, is he dead?
no, he's not, but I mean he's alive, so he's an option.
Oh, dead or alive?
Yeah. I mean, because you could say Steve Jobs, and then people are like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense."
Yeah.
No,
No,
the first one that came to my mind was actually Christopher Hitchens. Don't ask me why.
That's cool. I can dig it.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Christopher Hitchens came to mind just because like he's an author that I respect a lot, and then he died, and then like,
We should drink some Johnny Walker Black in his honor.
there's things that like happen
yeah.
in life that are really
I don't
really
have
funny.
any. I wish I did.
But his life, like where he was like I don't know if you guys know, but he was like a big atheist, and he like wrote all these books and stuff, and then he got cancer, which is not funny, obviously. But
And you're laughing.
but then as he had cancer, people were like, "Hey, do you feel that like maybe because all your work as being an atheist, God spiked you and or smite whatever, like God is punishing you, and now you have cancer." And he was just so defiant in that all the way up until the end when he died. And then, just be like, "Hey, so how's it going?" So tell me about it now.
Yeah, what's it like in the
Yeah.
afterworld?
So, were you right or were you not?
Afterlife.
Where would you have dinner at?
Where would I have dinner
Answer the
at?
question, dude.
Man.
A place that serves Johnny Walker Black.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Any bar.
Yeah. At a bar. At a shitty bar where we can get hammered and, that's like my favorite thing, is getting drunk with someone and having them just spill their fucking guts. So that would be the best, yeah. So some dive bar, probably Tomcats in Mir Mesa.
Nice.
Tomcats wings.
Specifically.
Dang.
He would be horrified by Tomcats.
Yeah. He would.
I heard the wings are good though.
They're free
No, really?
You guys?
on Fridays.
Dead or alive?
Yeah.
Teddy's Friday.
You're gonna say something
Time
hip hop, huh? You're gonna say something so hip hop.
He was like, I would have dinner with Nas.
I'd be like, tell me about how much those paintings cost.
I mean,
it just sounds funny.
Come on, Rosh, right?
Yeah, be serious, dude.
No,
Alright, you
no,
gotta go to
You
bed.
can pull it right now. Like
Be serious.
dinner. Where?
where? Okay, I
Who
don't
and
even know where. Where would I like to eat?
He'd be like, Rockstar would be like, he'll be at a cafe in Poland.
Wait, so
and,
who was it? Who would he?
Having
I
my
haven't
favorite
picked anybody
dessert,
yet.
tiramisu.
Dinner. Damn, I don't even feel like I go out. It's like all the time. I don't know. I'd probably say any Mexican shop, hole in the wall.
With who though?
Selena?
Muhammad Ali.
Muhammad Ali?
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah, I can't even make fun of that.
At La Fachada,
Yep.
and he's like, "So this is where you get the beans,
Yeah.
Pissed off at you. He's just like, man, what the fuck you bring me here for?
and then you get free onions."
No pork in those beans though.
Oh yeah.
No
that's
pork in those beans. No. Homeless
Not
Muslim.
a no.
Oh, you're Muslim too?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
And Rockstar would be like,
Oh, man.
Oh, okay. Aaron's motioning for me to give my my info.
Yeah.
So I think I would choose my guest to be Lapu Lapu.
Oh shit.
And it would be at a restaurant in Bonifacio Global City called Sarsa Kitchen, which is a kitchen that specializes in Negrinese food. Negrinese food, okay?
What is that?
It's a style of cooking in the south of the Philippines. So my wife is from Iloilo, and it's very close to that. And I would want to ask, like, what do you think of how they cook food nowadays in the modern age for people that are like very Americanized in the Philippines? You know?
So for people who don't know who Lapu Lapu is, can you please inform our audience?
So,
Yeah.
Right?
so if you visit Cebu and you know the history of the Philippines was conquered by the Spanish, and we weren't truly freed until the year of 1898. But Lapu Lapu is like the general in the Philippines that led the forces at Cebu. Lapu Lapu was the one that led the forces in Cebu. So if there's a statue in Cebu, and it overlooks like a part of the ocean where they supposedly defended the land from the Spanish, and you know the Spanish Inquisition with the Philippines. They, you know, if you know any Filipinos, a lot of our last names are actually Spanish, and there's a reason for that. And Lapu Lapu is supposedly the one that killed Magellan. You know,
Magellan?
Magellan was the leader or the Spanish explorer,
So he's kind of the Filipino George Washington.
or Columbus.
No, I meant the guy you want to eat with is the Filipino George Washington. Fought against the aggressors or the people that were trying
Yeah,
to.
Columbus was not the aggressor.
Yeah, Art. Fuck. Read a book.
Well, Columbus kind of accidentally found shit, and
He was an aggressor.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you just said he wasn't.
No, he was, yeah. He's
No, I know.
Columbus was an aggressor. But yeah, so anyways, going back to what I was saying, yeah.
No, but Lapu Lapu, you said just he
Killed the conqueror.
the
killed
conquerors,
the conqueror,
right?
yeah.
So that would be fair comparison. Interesting, good one. I'm just trying to make sure I'm following it. So
And supposedly, people think that he died when they cut off his head, but I think that he actually died from eskrima sticks. So
Is that the truth? Is that what you heard?
I don't know. That's what I heard
Really?
somewhere, but I
Died
don't know
from
if
what?
that's true.
So Eskrima actually goes back that far
I think so.
in history.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's another thing with Filipino martial arts. Speaking of that, just to go back, since it's pop culture, I watched Red Belt last night, which has
Oh.
Danny Inosanto
Yeah.
in there, which is a student of Bruce Lee.
Right.
You know, of course, he taught Bruce Lee the nunchucks,
And Red Belt's a movie about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does that? I haven't watched that movie since it came out. Does it hold up? Is it legit?
If you watch it now, it's kind of like, but I still enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And the guy that's in there was in Doctor Strange, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's what is it? What's his name? Doctor Strange. I told him last night.
The
Oh,
Mintworth.
it's Mordo.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Ejiofor, yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Nice.
Cool. Well, as everybody knows, Hall H show is all about, giving props to the creatives and artists out there. And so we have a special round called the Art Watch. So what that is we give a shout out to an artist. And when we say artist, it can be an illustrator, writer, actor, cosplayer. And in this case, if there's a B-boy or B-girl out there you want to give props to, go ahead and let us know. And we start with Rock's Right.
He's gonna give props himself.
Yes. Nah, I want to give props to a friend of mine. He's a b-boy, but he does photography as well. His name's Imagine. He lives in Los Angeles and he's building a lot of good work. But he's also a very modest cat that has a really good eye for breaking photography, but also fashion and landscape. So he's expanding on all elements of in that realm. And I think to me it's inspirational to see him kind of go from breaking, even though he was already doing photography, but now he's carrying on into that and being a purist about it in a way that he also does film. And he's been doing it before it became like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just dope to see how far he's been taking it and keeps pushing with it.
Cool. And if we look up Imagine, is there any other way that we can look him up?
Adam Adolfo's on Instagram, and you can see a lot of his photography on there.
You want to spell that out real quick?
Yeah.
Adam. He has a funny ass last name. Adolphus.
And Imagine is spelled
EMAJYN, but since he started doing more photography, he had to use his real name. So it's Adam Adolphus.
Okay. Cool. Art?
So I actually have two. So I've been following a lot of vlogs lately, and most of the vlogs I've been following, because of my travels lately, are out of the Philippines. So as far as cosplayers, this girl Alodia Goshinfao, ALODIAGOSIENGFIAO. She's a big vlogger from the Philippines, and she's wildly known in the cosplayer scene. She
Alodia.
actually interviewed what's her name? I'm thinking of her name from Guardians of the Galaxy. Gamora, her real name.
Zoe Saldana.
Zoe Saldana. So she interviewed her, and Zoe knew her right away off the bat when she came into the room on the interview.
That's
And
cool.
she's like, "I know you. You're the cosplayer." And like, she's like, "Yeah, you're the biggest cosplayer in Asia." And she was like, "Oh my god, you know me." So she's a great vlogger and even better cosplayer, and she's like a big gamer. Like a lot of her YouTube videos are her just gaming and cosplaying. And then she started vlogging maybe in the last 6 months. And other than that, another vlogger that I am into right now is Kyle Jennerman.
Kylie Jenner? What?
Kylie Jenner. Oh
Shout
my
out
god,
to Kylie
dude. I
Jenner.
would have never thought that would have. So his name is Kyle Jennerman. You could look up Becoming Filipino on.
Oh, this is the white guy in the Philippines, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's Canadian.
Okay.
And he's been in southern Mindanao. He lives in Mindanao. And if you guys don't know what's going on, the southern Philippines, like Mindanao, is like the most dangerous, apparently the most dangerous place to be in the Philippines, because of terrorism and all. But he lives there, and he's proving that it's not that bad. And so far, it doesn't seem that bad. But he's a Canadian guy that moved there, I think, I want to say like 5 or 7 years ago. And he's been defying the odds, and he's got to prove it in his vlogs. So
Cool.
look him up,
No,
Becoming
check-
Filipino.
Yeah, we'll check that out.
Yeah.
Mike.
Damn it.
Sasso.
You ready?
No.
Oh, he was looking up like
Jason.
I was trying to figure out one.
We'll go to Jason real quick.
Well, it's not the most obscure, but I've been following a YouTuber for a while called Nerdwriter1, and he does pop cultural analysis, a lot of film stuff. I just watched, but it's really intellectual film analysis, but it's very accessible and easy and fun to watch. So you don't feel like it's a dry, dusty book that a professor's opening up. I just watched as I was getting ready to come over here. He had one on Stanley Kubrick and his last movie, Eyes Wide Shut, which a little bit of his lesser acclaimed ones, but still has a lot of interesting stuff in it. And I'm kind of fascinated by that movie for a couple of reasons. And I just, again, he's not the most obscure guy in the world, but if you're not really into YouTube film videos, it would be new to you. And like I said, I think he does really high quality videos, very accessible, fun, easy, and you learn something every time. Nerdwriter1 on YouTube.
Cool. You want to go, Alex?
See, my artist is he goes by Gmonic, Gmonik, and on Instagram you can find him on Gmonic Art. And he's like, I don't know if he's really a street artist, but looks like he has that influence. He also does some sculptures too. I think his latest commission was from Sony's gaming division. He did a sculpture piece for him.
Wow,
Yeah,
nice.
he has real cool work. And so it's Gmonic Art.
Cool.
All right, I got one now.
Sasso.
I follow this. I don't even know if it's a guy, a person, a company, or whatever it is, but it's a good type.
I do too.
Yeah, it's a lot of typography.
Cool.
And it's just like a lot of dope, different styles of what some people would call hand styles, or basically typography. So yeah, it's a good type, GOODTYPE, and there's like just different dope fonts. and shit like that.
Goodtype.com.
Yes. No. Instagram.
Oh,
On
gotcha.
Instagram.
Okay,
Good type.
gotcha.
Yeah. So that's why I follow.
Mike.
Man, it's hard to pick one. So I was trying to find an artist that that's like an all-time since like, you know. So the one I chose is Spike Jonze. It was a toss-up between him and Shane Smith. Both of them are artists and people who create things. And in my opinion, they're both people who are visionaries who actually did something that's, I think, my opinion, similar to what we're doing, which is creating a collective and then actually building something out of it. I know a lot of people know Spike Jonze from making independent movies, but for me, he started out as a photographer for skateboarding for Transworld. Then went on to make music videos for Sonic Youth. Then went on to make other movies and stuff like that, and was a big part of Vice moving into the direction of making media. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
I didn't
like,
know that either.
Yeah, Spike Jonze, in fact, he's a part owner of Girl Skateboards, Chocolate, all those things. When those companies came out, when those companies came out, they changed the game, you know. And he was a big part of that, and it was all from an art perspective. So as far as creating something, and now with skateboarding, I mean, I know a lot of people are like really into it and probably, you know, whatever, but he added cinematic effects and stuff to skate videos. When he did the girl video Mouse, he made it. He shot it on film. He did all these things that were just like, he took all these risks. And yeah, man, like those are the type of people that inspire me. That like, when in our world, as far as breaking goes, like we're always taught like you got to learn the foundation. You have to learn the rules, and then once you learn the rules, that's when the magic happens because you can step outside the rules. Spike Jonze does that. You know, even though I feel he still hasn't made a good movie to where the masses can appreciate him, but yeah, that's something that like inspires me and makes me want to make some shit.
That's a good point. I mean, you can't break the rules unless you know the rules.
You got to know the rules first. Yeah, master the rules.
Word.
It's just like, you know, Picasso. You know, Picasso, they think of all his cubism and everything, but if you look at his other work, he's really classically trained.
Yeah.
So.
And you know, a lot of people don't think of him in that way too, which is another. That's a really good example of that. But you know, for in breaking, that was one of the things that is drilled into us. Is like, yo, if you want to breaking is this. You have to learn the rules, and you know, and once you learn the rules, then that's when you can start experimenting and stepping out. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you go in the opposite direction, whatever you start is not actually breaking. You know, it's just some random thing you made up.
Well, since Mike mentioned collective for my Art Watch pick this for this episode, and it's sort of relevant because Spider-Man just came out, and I've repped them in the past. There's a group called Poster Posse. Look them up, posterposse.com. They do a lot of tribute projects for, you know, for example, Spider-Man just came out. They have two releases that just came out. One was a couple of days ago. The second one just came today. And you have such renowned artists such as Orlando Arocena. I consider him like the vector god. I mean, he can do stuff in 6 hours that seasoned vector artists can do in 6 days. He's that good. There's an artist out of Japan. His name is Kaz Umori. He's part of Poster Posse as well. He contributed to this tribute project. And who else was there? Oh, Doaly. That's Doaly. I think that's how you look. That's how his name is on social media. He has a lot of awesome art as well. There's a whole slew of artists that have contributed to this tribute project, but look them up, posterposse.com. They just did a tribute project for Spider-Man Homecoming. So check them out.
Oh, I saw that. Is that with the swirl? That poster with the swirl?
I think that was another artist.
Oh, okay. I just saw that on Facebook.
I think that might be a Mondo print.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, check out Mondo.
Mondo does good stuff.
Yeah, they do good stuff as well. I guess we can start closing out this podcast. I know you guys have an event coming up. Why don't you guys talk about it again?
So on July 22nd, here in San Diego, I know it's Comic-Con weekend. Everybody from Comic-Con is welcome to come by, and we might actually have a Comic-Con costume contest at our event.
Okay.
But it is a breaking event. It is a 2 versus 2 competition, and the winner walks away with $1,000 cash prize. They might get some other extras here and there. But we do have vendors. We have people vending with records. If you like to dig through records, like you're into comics, it's kind of the same thing. You dig through comics, dig through records.
Digging for gold.
Yeah, exactly. You're digging for gold. We have a vendor, Hob Coffee, HOB Coffee, House of Black Coffee, hobcoffee.com. They will be in the house serving coffee and other sorts of treats, and we'll have battles as far as the B-boys and B-girls go. And that'll be, like I mentioned earlier, 2 versus 2. And we have people signing up on our site, www.tuffrocking.com, tuffrocking.com. And most people can sign up there, or they can buy tickets there. And it is much cheaper if you buy your tickets online right now. But as far as that goes, it's on Saturday, July 22nd, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Awesome.
Come check out your local talent from San Diego. There's a lot of talented b-boys here in the San Diego area, and also just the Southern California area. You're going to get a lot of talent coming out, so you can see some top contenders that travel around the world and compete. They're going to be here competing live, and it's definitely something to see, so you can get an idea on where the breaking scene is locally in San Diego, but also the attraction that from out of towners that come and compete at events such as the one we're having here.
Cool. Yeah, we'll definitely rep that on social media for you guys. Anybody going to Comic-Con?
I would, but I couldn't get a ticket.
I'm going Sunday.
I'm going to try to sneak in.
I might just walk around outside and
just going to use run through security.
Yeah. Yeah, if we didn't get tickets, I was just going to just hang out at the Hilton Bayfront at the Starbucks.
Really?
Oh,
And just do a podcast for all.
I'm going to meet up with you and hang out.
Yeah,
So what's up? I'll vlog with you. I'll be like, hey.
Yeah, I used to get a yearly pass to that.
To Comic-Con?
To
Yeah.
Starbucks?
No, to Comic Con. I went 1 year. 1 year I didn't make it because I ate a weed cookie and
No.
almost died on the way there.
But since
You make some bad decisions. we'll talk about that later.
Since Comic-Con is coming up, I just want to, rep a few things that are happening during Comic-Con. The schedules just came out for Thursday and Friday. I have still yet to look through them. Have you looked through them, Alex? Yeah, I guess we'll look through them this weekend. But there's a few events. Hey, Jason, have you had a chance to look at the schedules for Thursday and Friday? For
I
Comic-Con?
haven't. I did notice that I saw at least 1 or 2 of them hit Superhero Hype. I think had Fridays or something, and I'm like, oh my god, I got to start looking at that, but I haven't looked yet.
I'm not sure exactly when these panels are going to be on, but there's a few that I will definitely check out. The first one, he's an author and a writer for Forbes magazine. His name is Rob Salkovitz. I think he wrote the book called Comic-Con and the Business of Pop Culture. He's an interesting guy. He's really smart, spot on about when it comes to like business and Comic-Cons. So whatever panel that he's on, I'm definitely going to check out. So I encourage. Yeah, he has a Shark Tank type of panel that he's promoting. So basically, if you think of Shark Tank, and you have some sort of like pop culture business you're trying to promote. He has three experts on there that'll sort of
Listen to your pitch.
Yeah, listen to your pitch. I'm not sure which day that's going to be. Yeah, we'll have to double check that. But once we look at the panels, we'll definitely put up a post concerning all the panels that we recommend taking a look at. So there's Rob Salkovitz. There's also I think Tony Kim is going to have a few panels up there. He's crazy for Comic-Con. Speaking of Tony, he has a meetup, preview night. So if you're a content creator, or if you're just a general public who wants to go check out some of their favorite content creators, like Nerdfoo, Nerdy Girly, Superheroes XYZ, Nerdophiles, Under the Cape. Who else is there?
Hot Nerd Girl.
Oh yeah, Hot Nerd Girl. And us, we'll be there. It's look up the hashtag Game of Bloggers. It's going to be at House of Blues preview night.
Wednesday.
Wednesday. So come check that out. Hopefully he has a awesome San Diego Comic-Con. We'll put up another blog post, like I said, with all the panels and other things that we recommend you guys checking out. I guess we'll close out the show. As it comes to like social media, where can everybody find you guys?
We'll start with Rock's right over here.
You can find me on Rockstrite95 on Instagram, Rockstrite Official on Facebook, and just Rockstrite on Twitter. And you can check out my website, rockstriterepresents.com.
You can find me on YouTube, Distill Vlog, DESTIJLVLOG. On Instagram, you can find me as DESTIJL_RSF.
All right. You can find me at Mad Mike Logic on Instagram. And the same affiliations with Tough Rockin' and Not So Fresh Podcast and all those other ones.
Same here, toughrockin.com. On Instagram, Suciogram_RSF, and that's SUCIOGRAM_RSF. And soon the Sasso Fresco channel on YouTube.
Maybe y'all fall under the toughrockin.com.
toughrockin.com.
Toughrockin.com. Jason, let's rip out your new website.
Yes, Hero Journalism can be found at herojournalism.com or Facebook/Hero Journalism. And we can be found on Twitter at 4Cade1. That's the number 4, CADE1. Kind of like arcade, 4Cade1.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you guys for being on the podcast.
Thank you.
This is part 2.
Yeah.
So make sure you guys go check out part 1. So, peace, cheers. Talk to you guys later. Get your SDCC fit in. Talk to you later. Bye.
Peace, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Hall H Show. Our mission is to put the mainstream Hall H spotlight on artists, writers, and other creatives. We especially love emerging talent and people we think deserve more exposure, like fellow podcasters, the Not So Fresh podcast. They are doing big things for the local b-boy community here in San Diego, so make sure you guys go check them out. We all love attending conventions, so please make it a point to visit Artist Alley at all the conventions you plan on going to this year. Show them some love. Speaking of conventions, please make sure you are continuing to be SDCC fit. It really does make a difference. Join in on the fun by following the SDCC Fit movement online on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Check out the hashtag SDCCFit. If you are listening to us on Google Play, iTunes, or Stitcher, we would appreciate a rating and a comment. We are always looking for interesting guests to have on the show, so if you have any suggestions, please reach out to us on social media using the hashtag HallHShow. Are you an artist wanting to promote your Kickstarter campaign for an upcoming project? Let us know. Peace, cheers, and artists assemble.